Okay. Um, okay, so good day to you and welcome to the module 3. So we're looking at understanding management function. You could walk through your slide why I speak on it. So I'll just be calling the slide page. Um, so when I say next slide, so you move on. So introduction. Now, uh, we deal with, we have dealt with introduction to leadership and management, vision, creating analysis. So today we'll be looking at understanding management function. These are key and also elementary, but they are very, very important when it comes to, these are basic management function, which every manager and leader must understand. So this process identify in a set of function that is performed by managers to accomplish the set goals and objectives. So these functions are a set of identified functions that must be performed by managers to accomplish the set goals. So management in an organization play the dominant role to achieve the target goals of profit maximization, efficiency, increase in market share, delivering of quality services, and quality products. Now, the main aim of the management is to achieve the organization goal while using the organization resources most effectively and appropriately. So, as a manager, one of your tasks is to manage the resources. When we talk about resources, we're talking about both capital, non-capital, human resources, and everything at your disposal to be able to meet the organization goal. Now, utilization of the resources is key function of the management. So you must be able to utilize the resources. There are some things you have to do for you to be able to maximize it. And those basic functions is what is called management functions. Management functions. So these are well known for. So one of the management function is planning. Number 2 is staffing. 3, organizing. 4, controlling. 5, directing. This is the summary of what the management functions. Now let's take this one by one. Next slide. So I'm in slide 8 now. So when we talk about management functions and we're talking about planning, I said this in our last class extensively in characteristics of a good plan. Planning is concerned with determining of the objectives to be achieved and the course of action to be followed to achieve them. Underline that word. What are the course of action to follow to achieve what those objectives? That is planning. Planning implies decision making. So as to what should be done, how it's to be done, when it should be done, and who is to do it. Am I communicating? So the management, the planning implies decision making. So as to what should be done, how it should be done, when it should be done, and by whom it is to be done. Remember, I told you the characteristics of a good plan in the previous class. This thing also captured it: the goal, the objective, the action, who is to implement the action, who you are to report it to, the resources that is needed, the timeline, start date, and end date. All these are component of a plan. Planning helps to achieve the objective efficiently and effectively. Where there are no planning, efficiently and effectively will not be in view. So planning involves selecting the objective, the strategy, the policies, and the program, and the procedures for achieving them. What must we do? What tools do we need? How do we go about it? When do we start? When do we end? What resources do we need to pull? Who do we need to engage? All this forms what planning. Am I communicating? Now, planning function should be performed by managers at every level because planning may either be for the entire organization or for a department. So let's say, for example, now a middle level manager can be planning for his level. A senior manager can plan for the organization. A unit head can plan for the unit. So planning should be done across what all levels. Planning perfects the entire gamut of managerial activities. And also, it is continuous and never ending. You will keep planning. As far as you have goals, you have objective, it will not happen on its own accord. You have to plan your way out and take course of action to be able to fulfill them. Now, planning can be classified into standard plans, single-use plan, as it may be. So planning can be classified into short-term plan and long-term plan. So there could be a short-term plan, there could be a long-term plan. Am I communicating? So now what are the types of planning we have? We have strategic planning, tactical planning, operational planning. So strategic planning are usually done by top managers, CEO, board, all those things. It could be like a 3-year plan, 5 years plan, market trajectory, similar big pictures, element, and the rest. So those are examples of what strategic planning. While we have tactical planning, tactical planning looks on how to accomplish more mid-range, short-term goals. Let's say 6 months, 1 year, and all those things. So those are usually maybe less than 1 year or 1 year. Those are tactical plan. While operational plan has to do with what you need to do day-to-day operations. Seeking to use this principle to lay tactical plans to accomplish the big picture, because there are things you must keep doing every day to be able to meet the big picture. So those are operational planning. So strategic has to do with long term, 3 years, 5 years, the overall, the big picture. Tactical has to do with, let's say, 6 months, 1 year, depending on the tactics you want to, because tactical plan can be changed. Operational has to do with your day-to-day operations. What and what you need to do to be able to achieve the big picture, the goal. Now, a good plan, as I said earlier, must have the goal objective, must have the action to be taken, must have a timeline, duration, start time, must have person responsible, the resources that is needed, and all this. These are examples of what a good plan. Now, next, organizing. This is the process of bringing together physical, financial, and human resources and developing productive relationships among them to achieve the organization goal. So bringing all the resources together to achieve the goal is what is known as what? It's what is known as organizing. To organize a business is to provide it with everything useful or its functioning, both raw material, capital, personnel, etc., to ensure what the organization fulfills their goal. Now, in the part of the process of organizing as a process, you have to identify the activities, resource allocation, hierarchy, classification, and group of activities like assignment, duty, delegating authority, creating responsibility, coordinating authority and responsibility relationship. So these are key elements when it comes to what organizing. So identifying the activities, cost application. Okay, this department is taking this department is taking it, have to do planning, organizing, budgeting, etc. The one who is responsible. What are the activities that have to be used to assign a particular duty and to do? Delegating of authority and creation of responsibility. Coordinating the authority and responsibility of relationship in one department and the other department, what should be done. So it's really big work. So you have to ensure that everything is protected, ensure that supervision is well done, ensure the fact that interdependence of the department actually brings to avoid lapses. Now, this require opportunity principles of management talks about vision of work, authority and responsibility, unit of command, unit of direction, subordination of individuals, interest of mutual interest. I will explain them. Degree of centralization, scalar change, order, equity, degree of tenure of representative, and SPS cost. Now, so these are the 14 principles. These are the 14 principles of engagement. Why you 14 principles of management? So one talk about the vision of work, and for work to success, we have a vision of work. We talked about authority and everyone has to do authority. Everyone has to do the responsibility. They still have to do the teaching. There must be there must be a unit of command. Unit of command is that okay, you need to do it actually command, this is command that is what you do. So that we have who are in charge of command, they move everybody. Now it says the fifth principle talk about unity of direction. If we are saying we are going this way, everybody has to if we say we are going this way, every one of us has to go this way. Now, talk about subordination of individual interest to mutual interest. So if people have an individual interest, that interest has to be under the mutual interest. So your personal interest will not supersede the team interest, will not supersede the organizational interest. That is subordination of individual interest towards mutual interest. remuneration should be based on performance. Next, the degree of centralization. So what is the degree of centralization? When we are talking about procurement, five situations we are centralizing our procurement. So they should define the degree of centralization. Then scalar chain has to do with chains of responsibility. When you have degree of centralization, let's say for example, what should be done to this location, how it should be done, when it should be done, the timeline and everything. So we talk about order. Order, there should be order within the organization. Everything has to do with quality. Equality. So what should be done? It should be done to, depending on the need. So that is so stability of tenure of personnel. Let's say for example, somebody spends 3 years on that place or 2 years, that person should be giving time to finish that he or she at tenure.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm not really hearing what you're saying. I'm just struggling to understand what you're trying to say. I don't know whether it's a network also. Sorry?
It's the network. It's actually raining. Can you hear it?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so
people are not hearing me all this while.
Exactly. The last I heard was organizing. That is organizing. That's the last I heard.
Okay. I talk about the 14 principle of management.
Okay.
Now, these are the 14 principles: division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unit of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interests to mutual interests, remuneration, the degree of centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure of personnel, initiative, and expert the corps.
Yes.
Yes. So when we talk about division of labor, division of work, every department should have their work responsibility. Number 2 talks about authority and responsibility. Are you getting it? Then discipline. Every team, discipline is shown of an army. It makes more number formidable. So if your team must be formidable, they must be disciplined. Whether there's a supervisor, there's no supervisor, the people should know what to do. That is discipline. Now, they should show up when they need to show up. Even when things is looking as if nothing is happening, that's discipline. Unit of command. Let's say, for example, it should be place where that gives instruction. When instructions are given, that is a unit of command. That's what we have in military. Unity of what? Unity of command, unity of direction. If we say we are moving in this direction, that's the direction everyone should move. Subordination of individual interest to mutual interest. This has to do with when people have a personal interest. That personal interest should not go above what the general interest, which is the mutual interest of the team or the organization. So your individual interest should not supersede that of the organization interest. Let's say, for example, now you are doing timetable in a department. You put, because you have a wedding to go or you have something you need to go, that's a personal interest. You put it ahead of, to the detriment of the organization function or the organization schedules and all those. So those are personal interests. So your personal interest should be subdued. It should be subordinate to what? To the mutual interest. Remuneration. Remuneration has to do with pay. People should be paid well, and people should be paid according to performance. You see some places, some teams, somebody is not doing well, but is earning far better than people who are doing well. Are common things. So degree of centralization. What degree are we centralizing a process? What degree are we centralizing a system? So we should be able to define a scalar chain. When we centralize, how does they interrelate? Then order. Just like the way it is, there should be order, equity, more of equality, appropriating resources, appropriating things according to how it should be done, and not necessarily equal, but how it should be done. Let's say, for example, a location needs 70% resources. If they are bringing 70% of the revenue, that is equality. Allocating 70% of the revenue is equality. It's equity, sorry. Equity, not equality. I'm talking about equity, not equality. Equality has to do with sharing things common. Equity has to do with sharing things according to what the degree of relevance. Then stability of the tenure of the personnel. There should be, let's say, for example, if someone is to stay 2 years in a particular position in authority, the person should be able to stay that 2 years because there's a way it gives stability to the team. Then initiative. Team must learn to take initiative. Then
Hello,
14, esprit.
I have a question on
Please,
stability
can you
of.
write it down? Can you write it down?
Okay,
You
I
take it as
can.
that. Yes. So number 14, esprit de corps. So read that one. That one is your assignment. What is esprit de corps? It's not an English word. So just type what is esprit de corps and just listen. Just in 2 lines, you have already gotten the message. Next has to do with staffing. Remember, we are talking about planning, we're talking about organizing, and the third management function is staffing. Staffing is the managerial function which involves recruitment, selection, training, developing, promoting, and compensation of personnel. A lot of people just think staffing is only for HR. Staffing is not an HR job. It is a manager's job. In fact, the HR cannot manage the staff better than the team lead or the head of the department or than the managers. So recruitment is just a part of it. Selection is part of training, developing is part of staffing. Promotion, compensation of personnel. When people come to an organization, they don't have a clear career goal. They don't stay. They ask and say, what is it for me in this company in the next 5 years? What is it for me in the next 10 years? Because when they come in, they can't see a clear career progression for them. Or if I put in all my effort in this 1 year, what becomes of me in the next 2 years? All these things has to be spread out. What are the compensation plan? How is it being done? All these things has to be. Staffing may be defined as a process of hiring, developing the required personnel to fill in various positions in the organization. So staffing is a component of what? Personnel management, according to the ISO 15189 requirement. What is the importance of staffing? To procure right type of personnel for the right job, putting a square peg in a square hole. To train and develop human resources, to develop personnel policies and regard transfer, promotion, and etc. To mold effectively the human resources and motivate them for higher world performance. To establish desirable working relationship between employers and employee and between groups of what employee. These are the importance of staffing. To ensure satisfaction of the need of the workers so that they become loyal and committed to the organization. Proper staffing will help to build high morale among employees by maintaining good human relationship. I used to tell people that most of us will spend more time with our colleagues than with our spouse and family members. Sometimes, especially maybe if you live in a city like Lagos, where you come to work or you live at home, maybe let's say 4 or 5, you get to work by 7:38 and you close by 5, 6. Before you get home, it's 10. So you see that at the end of the day, you spend more time with your colleagues. You spend more time with your colleagues than even with your family. So we have to create a work-friendly environment that is supportive and that will not mentally depress ourselves. Now, to build high morale among employees by maintaining good human relationship, every other quality essentials are driven by staff, are driven by personnel. Equipment is driven by personnel. QC, everything is driven by personnel. So personnel is one of the most important quality system essential. Okay, now let's look at directing. What does it mean to direct? Direct this with organization method to work efficiently of achieving organization purpose. So direction is the interpersonal aspect of management, which deals directly with influencing, guiding, supervising, motivating subordinate for the achievement of the organization goal. Direction has the following elements. So when we're talking about direction, we're talking about supervision, we're talking about guidance, we're talking about mentorship. All these are subcomponents of what? Directing. Then what are these elements of directing? Key element of directing is supervision. The work should be properly supervised. People don't want to do people do what they like, but if you supervise them, they'll do what is expected. Motivation, leadership, communication, these are key aspects of what? Directing. In other words, when you supervise properly, you motivate, you provide leadership, then at the end of the day, you communicate properly, you will be able to influence the team or the unit, the department to achieve their goals. Last but not the least is controlling. The word controlling looks like a military word, but it implies measurement of an accomplishment against the standard. and correction of deviation. So this has to do with monitoring and evaluation. Let's say, for example, we say we are going to do this. This is what we are achieved. Then can you be able to match it and say this to this? It doesn't meet the standard. If it does not meet the standard, we need to review it. That is what controlling has to do. The purpose of control is to ensure that everything occurs in conformity to a set standard. If there is no control, definitely there will be deviation. If there is no control, there will be non-conformances. If there is no control, then non-conformity is inevitable. An efficient system of control helps to predict the deviation before they actually occur. So, controlling the process of checking whether or not proper progress is being made toward an objective, towards a goal. If the action that is taken is actually effective, that's what controlling has to do. And that's why every major project, NGOs and everything, they must have monitoring M&E. So this is what the M&E does. Then forms of monitoring and evaluation in project management. These are clinical examples of what? Of controlling. What are the components of controlling? Very important. It establish of standard performance. Standard operating procedure, the ISO standard, the SOPs, what is required, the benchmark. Those are, so you have to establish a standard performance. Measure the performance with the measure the standard with the actual performance to see if there is variation, to see if it meets the goal or it deviates from the goal. The comparison of the actual performance with the standard and finding out if deviation has occurred. Then if deviation has occurred, what happened? You do what? A corrective action. That's where CAPA analysis comes in. Corrective actions and preventive action. So if the control component of the managers is not effective, they will always end up having complaints. Because at the end of the day, nobody is checking. Nobody is looking out for it. Now you see, staffing, where are we? Instrument, how can we get on track again? That is correction. Where we plan to be, that's evaluation when it comes to staffing. Now, in conclusion, the management function involves these 5 components: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. You can take time and go through the slide. It's self-explanatory. I made it in such a way that you can read it and you understand. This is the basic 5 components of 5 functions of what management. And if you understand this little thing, you can build up on your management skill and build up on your management structure. By the time any of these 5 components that's not in place, if the deviation of any of 5, it has a way of affecting the management performance. It has a way of affecting the team performance at the end of the day. I hope this has been helpful to us. Please, just a minute, please.